Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay. I'm co-founder and director of ACT and Accelerate in Action. I'm delighted today to be invited to speak at the All Island SDG Symposium. And today I'm going to talk a little bit specifically about Accelerate in Action, which is our software which has been designed as an in-house software that is now a standalone product that helps community groups through to local authorities, national government, businesses, universities, help them align and contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and their targets. So first I want to explain a little bit about our Social Enterprise Act, or Accelerating Change Together. We were set up a couple of years ago, well 3 years ago now, actually we just marked our 3-year anniversary last week. We're based in Ballina in County Mayo, and we set up with the mission of accelerating the green transition across the island of Ireland. To do that, we offer a couple of services. So our green transition design services, and you can check all of this out on our new website, act-studio.com. Those services include impact architecture, so raising the bar around what sustainable architecture can be and should be. Resilient urbanism as well, designing and delivering on the spaces between the buildings, and future visions and strategies, where we work with local community groups to create a shared vision of what they want their town or island or neighborhoods in general to look like, and how, again, to deliver those visions and strategies. And then finally, where Accelerate in Action came out of is a fourth bucket, what we call impact at scale, which is this idea of how can we punch above our weight? How can we deliver solutions that meet the pace and scale of the challenges that we're facing? So, like I said, out of that, Accelerate in Action was born. It's a software, sustainability management software, and it's all about helping others, not just us, make better, more sustainable decisions. Like I said, sustainability management system is how we define it. We're already used by all sorts of organizations, universities, NGOs, through to businesses, national, local governments across the island of Ireland are using it as well, because we're all facing, I think, an issue of how do we, at a more local level, help contribute to the SDGs in a meaningful way. Speaking of SDGs, so I'm sure as a symposium on the SDGs, you're familiar with these. We love this framework just because it's so comprehensive. My background is in sustainable development. I've been doing work in sustainable development for the last 10 years or more. And this is, I would argue, the best framework for reasons that I can't go into right now because it would take too long. But it is excellent because it just covers, for me, it's the best framework to answer the question, what does good look like? Because good is captured within here in many different aspects. So our software, Accelerate in Action, is helping yourselves discover, communicate, and improve your impact in line with these goals, but also the targets. I'm a big advocate for the 169 targets. The goals are great, but they're really just titles. They don't mean much without the targets. So Accelerate in Action is a software. We have 3 steps to our process. We make it as easy as possible because in my background, I found mapping and showing how we delivered to the SDGs as an organization through our projects was very difficult, but it's unnecessarily difficult, I would argue. So our 3 steps make that simple. So the first step in the software is to add the basic information on your action. Actions can be policies, projects, plans, tangible or intangible. You put in the basic information. You then are presented with a list of keywords, we call them tags, preset themes and topics related to sustainable development and the SDGs. You select those tags that you think are relevant. We offer definitions for all of these tags because, again, we don't assume that everyone knows all these technical terms, like climate change mitigation was a term I remember learning about years ago, but for a lot of people, they're going to come across these terms and it may be the first time for them. Once you've selected your tags, you're presented with a short list of SDG targets. So not the full 169 list, but just the short list of relevant targets for you to select and say whether it's relevant or not. You can go into more detail. You can start defining if you are having a positive or negative impact, direct or indirect, even getting to the point where you can start explaining what actions you're taking to meet these targets and what KPIs. The software itself offers examples and ideas for actions and KPIs, local indicators that you could take on board, but you can also add your own custom actions and KPIs. Or you can keep it at the level of just mapping to the targets if you want a preliminary assessment, for example. So that's the accelerated action process. As in a nutshell, what we're doing is taking the SDGs, taking your policies and actions and translating it into this shared common language of sustainable development, which is what the SDGs afford. This wheel graphic that you see is something we created in the software. And what it's doing there in one easy graphic is mapping your policies and actions to, yes, the 17 high-level goals, but also the more detailed, action-orientated, implementable targets around the edge. You can see them scattered there. So that same approach is the reason that in Ireland, Department of Environment, Climate and Communications has adopted this tool for the last 2 years running. It's how Ireland reports its progress on the SDGs to the UN. It's also how it helps develop and improve its climate plan. So it's actually, if you look at Ireland's climate plan for this year and last year, they've been using our software in the plan to help improve it, align it with wider challenges around sustainable development beyond just climate. It's also used by county councils in their climate plans, from Mayo County to Laois to this is where I need my glasses, to Offaly, to many other county councils are using it. Community groups as well. So we have examples where a communities of different initiatives want to understand what their overall impact is, and they've used that software to align, create a shared vision for what they're achieving, baselining effectively their impact, and then saying, okay, this is our baseline, where do we want to go from here? And they were able to do that because they used the software to map and create that baseline. Also for funding applications, because we've made this quite quick and simple, you can actually use it very, very early on rather than retrospectively just as a reporting tool. So in the case of Derry City and Strabane District Council, who are our first Northern Irish council who have adopted the tool, they've been using it successfully to apply for funding for a capital project. This was the Acorn Farm project, some of you may know it, and they were successful in part in that application because they used the tool to explain in a detailed way as you can what the intended impact is across the SDGs of this capital project. Sticking with Derry City and Strabane District, they worked with Donegal County Council on a joint climate framework. They use the tool for that as well, because SDGs are great for cross-jurisdictional work because they're international. And then lastly, we've been used by universities like Galway. You can see, and if anyone is interested, I can share the URL on this. But with the tool, they've created an SDG showcase site for their business school to show the impact of their staff's research and engagement and teaching. It's great for prospective students to see visually what the impact is across the SDGs of all their staff, of the staff members, but equally for the staff themselves, it's great to understand what everyone else is doing. And therefore, if you find similar interests with other staff members, more likely that you're going to partner up and actually be able to deliver on impact that you both see eye to eye on. Great for also being able to show the detail individually by project, by location, but you can also show the bigger picture as well. So with all the different types of projects you may be working on, you can show that bigger picture without losing the complexity and the many different kinds of impact that you are likely having. And why, going back to the targets, just to pick a few out, for example, rather than saying that you are just linked to goal 17, for example, partnership for the goals, you can be saying exactly how that is by encouraging effective partnerships. To do with economic benefits, it's important to show that, say by job creation, that impact that you're having, through to social, creating access to safe and inclusive green and public spaces is a popular target, through to environmental, protecting biodiversity, for example. It's all of these good principles and practices are captured within the SDG targets. And then to say for policy coherency, it's great. This is a local council, and what they've done is map to using the tool to the SDGs, to the targets, use the same graphic as the national plan, and you can see it's a where do they converge, whether they diverge. Probably arguably the easiest way to show policy coherency. For community groups, for more local level work, it's great as well, because you can use the same graphic to say, and this is what our work means for more regional and national priorities as well. Or even beyond the SDGs, we've added a new function where you can map to the European Green Deal as an example. But yeah, on that theme of more than just the SDGs, I mentioned Derry City and Strabane District Council using the software. We're including in their accounts the SDGs as a way to map to them, but also the council's strategic growth plan, but also the program for government. So they're able to do in one assessment 3 different mappings, which just makes it easier, so they can spend less time assessing and more time actually delivering their projects. So to sum up, the SDGs, I would argue, the best framework for decision making we have. They set a clear and collective direction. You can perform gap analyses on them as well using infographic like this. You're able to communicate multiple social and environmental economic benefits, which I think most of us are doing, having multiple benefits through our projects and initiatives. Show how your actions align with international, national, regional, and local priorities. De-risk your actions as well. Mobilize political and community support and partnerships. And then finally, I will just end on, I think it's really important that we focus less on the goals and more on the actual targets, because at the end of the day, the targets are the things that we need to meet to help achieve the goals by 2030. So that's where the detail is. It's not as difficult as it might seem to map to the 169 targets. We do make it easier to do so, and that's where you get the real value. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of the day, and appreciate you taking the time. If anyone's interested in anything I've discussed, from ACT to Accelerating Action, please reach out, tom@acceleratingaction.com, and happy to take the conversation further from there. Thank you.